this video, we start to move further on the enterprise architect tool for Sparx system about their edition licensing and try to use their sample in the trial edition to do some basic part. In the GitHub, I have start to store the under Sparx. This is the mind map. So this is this mind map, and these are the PowerPoint page. If I have some key message, I will try to leave there. So that is something is I will also not only use mind map but also use the PowerPoint, so that we have a different way to tracking our information. Let's go to this licensing part. So quickly, so if you have understand or got chance to try the product from the licenses, have the professional, corporate, unified, ultimate, these 4 different licensing. So like here, and also you can trial for all edition. But these are the time limited, so you can download this trial edition or light edition. A light edition is just read only, free read only, or called light. So that is used to share. I believe is when you share your repository or your project to the large audience within your company. Many users may not need this professional or editable license, so you can use this light edition. And then the available edition is you can read their detail. So for our company, I think is we use this corporate edition, so we can have some database connection capability. And the licensing management. So I start to open. This is the enterprise architect tool. So I already installed. And if I make that small, like here, from this ribbon, you can check your license. So from start, help, and then if you don't register, here should be the register word. Now is I already registered my tool. So here you can see I have this EA corporate license based on our shared key. So we within our company we have the license server, so we can have this shared key. And then this you will see all the license expire, and you can add key, remove key, and here is find your license information. Again, is start help, and then from the about EA. So you can see here enterprise architect. Register key is a shared key, so there's no specific key. So register date with the corporate edition and the licensed user. So those are the license information. So I don't try those adding key, so we don't use these. But if you got our key, but here you can see if I make that back, so you can see here. Some license key is can be used. Shared key, private key have different format. So that depending on how you acquire this tool. So those I think it's key store troubleshooting. We can skip upgrading. I already have this 6. I think it's my version is 16.1. 0.0 and 1605. So that is the current version. And also for add-in, so I haven't have any add-in, but the important here is if you have IDing. The IDing is not our free tool, so you also need to purchase IDing, and together with IDing, you get our IDing key. So you also need to register IDing key into your product so that you can be able to use the IDing. But those I haven't have that on my tool, so I hope is we will later on to try what are the things we can do from the basic tool, or what we need to make some IDing. And you can get some support. You can order this and install. So install, I don't go to here. So that you can, if you are using the Linux or Mac. So to myself is I have the Windows, so just direct install. But if you have some the Linux the environment, you can go through here to have some the detailed installation the steps, because you need to configure some drivers, I believe. Then let's back to here and order and register. After you have installation, you can have a version activation. Then you can register full license and formal statement. Have some those copyright related documents. And let's back to here. So what within this video, so we already have this order and installation. I want to do some initial one. So the full function 30-day trial edition of this tool is available. So you can download if you want to try and to learn my together with my video. If you don't have this, you can also get this trial version. So then you can see trial detail for the 30 days and extend the trial period. If you are testing days more than 30 days, you can apply to their salespeople to extend your trial period. And the trial period must expire before you can enter the extension the key. And extend the trial edition. So if you go to extend confirmed, then you will get an upgraded key, so the extended key. So you can put that in this upgrade key field. So if you use this trial version, you can get something here. So this is the standard installation procedure within the Windows. So if you have this edition, so you can get this trial edition download based on 64 or 32. But you need to get that based on your OS bit. So if you download the trial, it's already 16.1, but my company's version is 16.0 still. So I hope there's no big difference during our practice. And then that's just the standard. And let's see whether there's any specific things. So for your trial version, you have all the editions. My edition to be used during this video will be corporate, but you can enable more than corporate. You can enable ultimate. So then all the functions will be enabled. So let's starting to do some hands-on work. So they gave our very quick way to have this guide. So guide is we can have some concept, create a project, and we make some the model build the idea, and then this give some the samples. So part 1, brief introduction on some concepts. Part 2, go through startup and find the most common necessary control and learn how to customize the UI. Part 3, to create a new model. But before create a new model, you need to create a project, I believe, setting up a perspective using pattern-based model fragments to fast-track model construction. And also, part 2 is a collection some of the where to next. So let's try to see whether we can finish this trial version, the quick tool within this video. So first is a concept, as we introduced already. So this tool is focusing on our dynamically diagramming or the flexible diagramming, but from their introduction, its side is more than a drawing tool. A diagram in EA is a view of some parts of the underlying model. So that means they are the modeling tool, and the model element can appear in multiple diagrams. So this is our key concept. You can reuse your element, and if that's reused by the multiple peoples, then this element is gradually become part of the repository. And updating, if you reuse that, updating element in one diagram will update in all other diagrams. So this is a flexibility, but sometimes this is also a risk or danger, because if you are working within a team, you need to bear in mind is whenever you want to change anything, you need to double check whether this one is also used by your colleague, used by the other, the snapshot diagram, which should not be directly changed to another version of the element, because that concept or the meaning of another diagram may be changed or impacted. And then the connection between element and the first level model elements, and not just the visual representation. So we can connect. I hope that connect is so we can configure some property. We can configure the meaning of the relationship. So I have a lot of the videos using the Archi tool to do that, which you can experience the relation based on the Archimate language standard. But how Sparx systems tool can do this, we will see. Browser window is the doorway into the model itself. Diagram toolbox has the palettes of appropriate element of current diagram. Element from modeling language has a special property, characters, and linkage restriction. So that they have the property, they have the relation. So, and also repository-based modeling. This is I am highly expected to see what that will be meaning. So model repository in enterprise architect can be implemented in numbers of different ways depending on needs. Regardless of the type, it's important to know that you must create and open a repository before you can do any modeling. So I believe it's now we have nothing here. We will starting to from the project or repository creating. Some key repository type is a single repository file. So this should be the EA project extension. I think that's the specific special extension based on the enterprise architect tool. Or they have a different extension. This is used by single developer, so I can start from this. And then when we come to some paragraph, we will see I have our SQL database in my PC, so we can see whether we can use the DB to be the repository in the backend. So just for testing, and also the network-based, the cloud-based, or web-based repository. So that is the four level of this repository type. The kind of modeling you will do depend. You will need for purpose of trial. Single file approach will be enough. Okay. Technology, pattern, perspective, framework. I believe we will getting familiar with those terms in this tool very soon. Since you can do with a model, so document code generation. So after we made a model, we can generate our class model based class model code, model inter-exchange in XMI. We need to understand what's the simulation or behavior. So if this is not our static model, I think maybe we can do some dynamic way. So apply range of mathematical simulation tool to system. I saw they also have some kind of the activity, timing, interactive, state machine. So that is all is the AML. So if we come to O, so here is some MATLAB. Also, I think that is quite interesting. So how this will be utilized, you can make that. So you can see here, when we have some activities, I believe is we can utilize some concept from MATLAB to make some the problem solving. So those, but it is already beyond some just daily the architecture diagram or the modeling work. But these are the potential. The SysML simulation with open model Lika or MATLAB is mentioned here. Construct a review of model contents. So conduct a review. So that is the kind of the governance or collaboration. Make model accessible online by WebEA. So that is the thing we will need to trial run. Once you move your model into our database or cloud repository, you might also implement the model security to control who can modify. So that is role-based control. So that is important, and I believe we can have some more the reading on the repository on this user guide on how they do that. And there is plugin, so interface using the automation interface, scripts, plugins, some server interface, and I hope there's a reach the API we can try. So then we can call this repository or call the tool through API. Then we can integrate with other systems. Like it's, in our company, so we have a separate system to handle the application portfolio. So I can manually create some application or some business capability in this tool when they build the repository. But if they can connect with other system in the real life scenario, that will be the quite interesting. So next step is we will start to do some actual hands-on work. So I stop here and see you in the next video. Then we will try to make some the modeling build. See you then.